Okay,
You're ready.
are we ready?
Yeah.
Meeting to order, roll call.
Mr. Wright,
Here.
Mr. Hennis,
Here.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Hawkins.
Item B, pledge of allegiance, moment of silence, so if you will stand with me, please. Join me in the pledge and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2B, move to adopt the agenda of August 4th as presented.
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Hawkins.
Yes. Item 2B, move to approve the minutes of July 7th and 21st, 2020 as presented.
I'll move to approve minutes as presented.
Discussion?
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Hawkins.
Yes. Item 3A, there weren't any, so move on to reports and presentations. Item 4A, superintendent's report, Dr. Beebe.
Yes. As soon as I can find it, oh, here it is, right here. President Hopkins, members of the governing board, it's always my pleasure to get to update you on some things. Again, as we're getting ready to kick off this school year officially, I don't have the normal celebrations and things that we would have, but just a couple of things to bring to your attention tonight. One of the things I want to bring to your attention, Mr. Mace in our district has been contacted, we've been contacted by a company called CGI Communications. And CGI Communications, they started in Casa Grande in 2000 as a dial-up provider. They are a internet provider and they are interested in joining forces with our district and are looking to put up some towers in our district that would allow to increase some of the internet areas in our city and do some different things. They would like to lease from us, and again, I don't have this as an action item, just wanted to inform you, and I can put it on a future meeting as an action item. But they're proposing $500 a month to be able to have cell towers and to maintain those. They would lease from American Tower and Crown Castle and to do that. So it's another provider, maybe another opportunity for us. Just want to let you know they've approached us. I can share this with you in my board report on Friday, and then if there's interest, we can certainly add it to the September board agenda for something for you to approve of.
And which towers? The towers where there's already established cellular, or were they talking about putting up new towers, or what?
New towers.
The rooftop.
Here's I'll tell you what, well, we're not really supposed to pass anything around, but
That's right.
very similar. It's just very similar to those towers. So
It's smaller than what's up there.
yeah, it's a lot smaller. But anyway, so just wanted to let you know that. Obviously, I just want to let you know too, the AIA sports as of right now, the AIA is planning on moving forward with the AIA seasons. There's been several meetings. Thank you for the input that I got from all of you. I shared that as a district, but they are moving forward right now. And I will keep you abreast, and we'll see, as Superintendent Hoffman's statements and the things that are coming out this week, we'll see if that changes, but right now we are planning on moving forward. Also wanted to let you know that we do, and I think I shared this in a report, but we have received our provisional approval from the state for our AOI. So we do have an approved, online school. Again, we don't have to use the AOI until we actually bring kids back in person to school. But it is approved. And then I've been sending these to you, but today ended the second day of extended registration in our attempt to get our students registered. And so I just wanted to give you the last numbers as of today. Now remember that we should have about 3,700 kids registered in our district. As of the end of the day, we have 2924. So we've moved up a lot, but we're still probably 600 or 700 people have not registered yet. Right now, if you look at the modified in-person at Casa Grande Union, 1,020 students would like to do modified in person. At Vista Grande, 763 students would like to do modified in person. Online at Casa Grande Union, 615, and at Vista Grande, 526 would like to do online. Right now, total registration numbers, we have 1635 at Union and 1289 at Vista. So both are probably missing a couple, 300 kids that still need to register. Right now, no internet at Casa Grande Union, at least those who, this always worries me about the no internet, because if I don't have internet, I may not know to tell you I don't have internet. But right now we have about 69 students who have said they don't have internet at Casa Grande Union, 91 at Vista Grande. So those are our latest numbers on registration, and as those change, I'll keep you abreast of those numbers.
So you had 1,200 at Vista Grande and 500 of them want to do online,
Yes.
do virtual, so about 40%?
Yeah, there's probably about 39% is where we're at right there. We predicted about 20%, and that's obviously when it's more like a third of the kids, and maybe a little higher at Vista right now. So than Union. So that's just what they're signed up for. Now remember, we ended registration today. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with recreating master schedules and getting rosters to teachers. So anybody who has not registered, and what we did put out in our registration, that if you don't register and tell us you want to do online, that we will register you as modified in person. And so we're going to move forward, and we'll complete registration now and get the ball rolling there.
So the people that haven't registered up to the end of the day, they will be automatically into the modified.
We'll put them right into modified in person because we need to get them in classes and we'll
Okay.
get them registered.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to do. And then the last thing I have, I just believe it's important. I've really taken pride as a superintendent to try to recognize our employees. And so if you will give me just a few moments, I had the opportunity on Friday to recognize all of our employees for their years of service. Remember, we started this a year ago, that every 5 years, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, when they hit those milestones, we're recognizing them with a certificate and a pen. So I would just like to read the names of the employees that we recognized on Friday. So 5 years of service in our district: James Shapiro, Amanda Hartman, Hilda Ortega, Rita Wisenhunt, Michelle Perez, John Garvey, Rodrigo Velasquez, Sean Casey, Vicki Lawton, Jake Barrow, Cedric Collins, Steve Morale, Renalyn Bitos, Rowena Cruz, Rajay Apatan, Ma Cassandra Argelis, Jim Catellis, Anthony Lee, Jose Rodriguez, Elena Catalang, and Natalie Brown. 10 years of service this year in our district: Joseph Hopkins, Mary Norris, Holly Adams, Annabelle Osuna, Harley Grigg, Cleope Ressler. And then 15 years of service this year: Geraldine Binkley, Jaime Rodriguez, Anna Hicks, Carmela Ash, Gloria Reese, and Neil Smyers. 20 years of service in our district this year: Christina Collins, Master Sergeant Hazard, Stacy Brady, and David Spears. And then 25 years of service in our district this year: Angel Salinas, Ernesto Razo, John Craig, and Sylvia Tapia. So a lot of employees been here a long time, and I just wanted to publicly recognize them in front of you tonight. So with that being said, that concludes my report for this part of it, and we have a couple of presentations for you.
So next will be Director Sean Casey to present an update on special education services.
Good evening, President Hawkins and board members. So tonight, I just want to give you kind of a brief overview of special ed, of what we're trying to do and where we're going with this current plan and the pandemic that kind of surrounds it. So, go back. So, obviously, last quarter, our March, April, and May, it brought everybody kind of just to a halt and trying to figure out what's going on and how are we going to move forward with everything that was coming out at us at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So we were forced to stop, forced to, in uncharted territories, to provide, our general ed students and our special ed students the services that are needed within our school programs. And so with special ed, it made us really kind of take a step back and look at what is it that we need to do to make sure that our students are continuing to receive services, but also having health and safety, be a priority one within their time frame here at school. So it really made us take a step back and look at what we need to do. So moving forward, we know that the 2020-21 school year, school systems across the country will once again have to balance health and safety concerns with providing a free appropriate public education, which is known as the FAPE, and will likely be considered various operational models for delivering services. Now, every model that we've all looked at, everyone talks about a hybrid model, in person, a full-fledged, everyone's back in person, or an online, okay? Some districts are doing all you come all. Some districts are doing the online and come all, and some districts are doing all three. They're doing the online, everyone come, or a mixture of what you do online and or modified in-person hybrid. So obviously the district is going to go with our online models and our modified in-person hybrid. And the hybrid will happen when we can have students back on campuses. So our modified in-person obviously is synchronous learning. It's on a virtual platform determined by us, which is going to be our Microsoft Teams that we're trying to roll out with our staff, and which will allow our staff to basically have our students follow a daily campus bell schedule and their class schedule of 6 classes per day, where we're going to have live sessions with our teachers. You'll have recorded sessions that students can come in on if they come in late to school with checking in online. They're able to do that with their teachers, staff, and their peers. When schools reopen, then in-person instruction will be able just to shift right into having kids on the campus without no hiccups at all. You'll be able to do 6 classes online, then shift right into being in person, and this does continue from a schedule standpoint. With our students who receive IEP services, they'll continue to do that no matter what, whether it's online or whether it is in person. As a district, we also have the option, obviously, as your AOI online. Now, a lot of times when you have your students who have IEPs, majority of them, they can do online education, okay? What our AOI is representing is the fact that it's saying we have edgenuity. So they're allowing them to have 3 classes in the first quarter and 3 classes in the second quarter. What that does for a student who is online, then it allows them to do this at their own pace, okay? No matter if they're gen ed or special ed, you can still provide the services and the support through the ingenuity with having teachers or paraprofessionals, support staff to be online with them at the time. You can set up meetings with teams, you can do groups, you can do one-to-one. It's really kind of an advantage to be able to use this online system to be able to help with the online students, but also our hybrid students too. If the student and or parents decide on this model of learning, our ESS department personnel will be calling to make sure they have a complete understanding of the online process. When I say that, we have a lot of parents that have gotten online and they look at the online process and they say, my kid can stay home. My kid does not need to come back to class. So they pick AOI. What we want them to have a clear understanding on is your child able to do the ingenuity process on their own, where they don't need as much help and support and service? Because if they do, then we need to figure out a way to get them back in that hybrid model, but also offer a team plan from an IEP team standpoint to determine, can we provide the 6 days or 6 periods a day? Can we also do that virtually? So that is an option that we're going to trying to support with our IEP students. So that if we do have that, we can move our ESS team around We can have some teachers that are virtual, some teachers that are virtual and in person, and then some teachers that are in person. So we have the flexibility of trying to do that, which comes with trying to align with what the numbers of what Dr. B's telling you, who's online versus who's in person and signed up for. So we are trying to figure that piece out at this point in time. We are trying to, our staff, let me go on to related services and I'll go back to the staff piece. So related services, services are provided on campus or virtually as determined by the IEP team in collaboration with all team members, including parents and guardians and the students. So you have speech and language, you have occupational therapy, physical therapy, counseling, nursing services, and transportation. Now, obviously, if a student picks online, then transportation is kind of irrelevant at this point in time because they're staying home, there's no need for transportation.
So just a question for you.
Go ahead.
So if a student chooses to go virtually, the IEP team will do an assessment with them physically at their house?
No, if they choose to do an online format,
Okay.
then it is called a meeting, or called to a meeting where the IEP team will come together and they will look at the current IEP and they'll say, okay, what in the current IEP has to either be changed or accommodated to. So at every IEP, you have a certain number of students or students that have a certain number of minutes per week that they have, whether it's in reading, writing, mathematics. So that may need to be adjusted. The fact that a student had transportation to and from, so 2 days every day to school and then back home, that may need to be adjusted. If it's not adjusted, it may be just noted in the IEP that at this time, because of the pandemic, parents are choosing to keep their student at home, which means that work services of this piece are not needed at this time. So it's just about accommodating and modifying what is the need for it.
Physical therapy and occupational therapy and stuff like that?
So those pieces right there, those can be held when it's determined to be held in person, or it can be held from a virtual standpoint too. So through your teams aspect where they may have a speech language person may have one student who's available at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they may set a time where they have a face-to-face and they go over speech goals of what they're working on, they could do that. If it's counseling minutes, our school psychologists, they would set up a time and have the minutes where they would meet, for 10, 20, 30 minutes, however they need to meet. And then they go over what's going on in their life and they're just getting counseling minutes. So they approach it from that standpoint. Okay. Private day. I know that you guys have had some conversations and discussions about private day and what does that look like from the district standpoint. The district standpoint is that although we don't have quote unquote contracts with private day, the private day are associated with consortiums up in with the state of Arizona. So every private day is associated with a consortium, which is acknowledged by school districts. So when we have a student that we cannot fulfill their needs academically or behaviorally, most of the time it's behaviorally, but academically kind of falls in line with that, but it's mostly behavior. Then we as a team, we meet to discuss exactly what needs to be done to help this child move from point A to point B, basically through high school to get graduated, but also continue the behaviors where on our campus sites, we just don't have the capability of dealing with them at the time. So hence where private day folks come in, okay? We fill out some paperwork with the student then turns it into private day. The private day says, okay, we charge this much, and then we say, okay, no problem, and we move on from there. We get a monthly bill, we pay it out of the funds. All of it, I think for private day, we all pay out of the IDA grant, so our special ed grant from the state. So we pay out of that, and we don't necessarily question any of it because it is there, the validity is there. I know that there's been some questions for us when the pandemic hit, how are we paying and why are we paying, things like that. They're put on the same spot as what we were put on from March to May. They are put on the same spot as what we're starting up right now. They are still the same process as what we are. We're still waiting for the state to say, yeah, here's an in-person and here's not. There are a number of the private day schools, They have sent out letters to districts, to parents, stating that we are still following basically Governor Ducey's plan. We're still planning on starting for the 17th, but however, if the matrix and things come out to show that we should not, then they will continue to do a new school year, and they will continue to do it online. The services for online are like anybody else that we would do. We would have meetings virtually, phone calls with parents, phone calls with students, emails, send paperwork home for the student to work on, send it back. So there's all sorts of scenarios that they are doing that we would do the same thing as a school district. So I just want to let you guys know that.
So the private day contractors will be doing, either the online, we'll be doing the online with each one of those students, or will they come in person to do that?
It depends on the state's matrix system, but also what their system is, and it doesn't come together as one. Most private days have said, if the state says we can all go back on the 17th in person, then they're going to probably move in and go in person on the 17th.
Okay, but if they can't, then it's all gonna be online.
It will not be necessarily online, it'll be virtual. Distance learning, yes.
Okay, it'll be virtual, but, so it'll be virtual until they say they can go, but will it be one-on-one?
For most of the private days, you have to remember the private days not only have our district, but they have probably East Valley districts, West Valley districts, there's Yuma, there's also through all over the state. So you have kids in the classroom per se, there may be 5 kids in the classroom, there may be 10. But with that spread out from a virtual standpoint, they can still do virtuality pieces of a one-to-one sort. So yes, they would do more of a one-to-one.
Okay.
The district's percentages, I mean, of kids who actually take advantage of the private, their IEPs are part of the private day, so it's fairly small.
In our district?
Yes.
Yes, there's only, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids that we send into the valley,
Right.
between YACES and Excel. And then we use about, we have 8 students that go to SPLEC here in town, Southwest Education Center. And then we also have our Desert Choice Schools that's located on Union's campus. And we have about 7 of them, including incoming freshmen in total. So it's a very small percentage of students.
Yeah.
It's not very big at all. And that's what the way you want it. You
Oh, no,
don't want it that high.
Everything is driven by the IEP, correct?
Yes, sir. Any other questions?
Thank you, great report.
I do want to say our staff in March and in March through May, our staff worked diligently to call every family and make sure that they all had internet calls, what's going on, everything okay, how can we get assignments to everybody? Obviously that a lot of it did help, but obviously you always have some of the things where there's bad phone numbers or bad addresses and things like that. So there are some people that we can't get in touch with, but this year we started out again, we're calling parents to make sure they have internet, make sure that they want AOI versus the in-person and explaining what that is. We've had multiple parents say, oh, I chose AOI because I want them home, but if you're going to offer the in-person hybrid that allow them to stay virtual, then I want to switch it back. So they are going back to that in-person hybrid. And the reason we chose to do that is because if I have 20 students who have IEPs and they choose the AOI system, that's 3 classes they're taking first quarter, when everybody else is taking 6. And if they go 5 weeks into it, they go, I want to call an IEP meeting, and they say, I want my kid back in hybrid model because I feel safe, then we want them to have that same schedule in line, because it allows them to smooth transition back into the in-person schedule. So,
Have you been in contact with all your special ed students as of today?
we have called or attempted to call every single one of them, yes.
Okay.
Have we gotten a hold of every single one of them? No, and that's because we either have a bad phone number, bad email, people have moved over the summer, it just depends on what it is. But for the most part, we have attempted to call every sophomore, junior, senior that's returning, and we are on right now trying to call every freshman that's incoming to make sure that they know what they're picking as far as registration is.
Okay.
So just to go, but they'd be under the same parameters of another student if they chose to start virtually at the beginning of the school year, that they would not be able to transition until the semester, or would it be different for special ed?
Depending on the IEP, there could be some different, depending on the IEP, there could be some different accommodations.
And
But
again,
you thought it was a smaller class
Yeah.
size, you said,
Yeah.
so I mean, as far as.
we're offering that piece of it because one, it allows parents to have a different mindset going into what they would look for from on the IEP. And it allows our students who may or may not have to come back at an earlier time because of what the Governor Ducey's executive order has indicated. We are trying to allow parents to have a little more than options than just saying the executive order tells you I got to send, your medically fragile child to a classroom 5 days a week with 3 other students that you don't know where are. So it's one of those things we try to offer a little more options. So
That's awesome. That's great, thank you.
okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Mays, present the facility update,
I got two,
cleaning update.
hopefully it works. I got 2 quick reports for you guys. One will be just to summarize kind of my perspective, our perspective of the facility assessment that was done. And then following that presentation, I'll do a really quick, just what are we doing on the facilities and to sanitize and what are we prepping up? So, I can get my stuff going. All right, so that facility assessment we had done was, I wasn't able to make that meeting. I forget, I was out of town, what was going on, but I couldn't be here. But, so I didn't get to see it firsthand, but I did meet up with them after that board meeting, and it's really comprehensive, what they did for us. And I think what my takeaway, the big takeaway for me is that there's nothing out there that caught me off guard. I was super shocked or surprised about it. Oh, this is a problem. I didn't see that coming. And for me, that was good because it means I'm aware of what's happening. But with that, I tried to take that document, that Excel spreadsheet they gave us is massive, like 44,000 sheets. And but it's really cool if you kind of learn how to navigate, you can look things up. It's a pretty neat tool. But so I tried to sum it all up real quick and easy for you guys. So the more urgent needs that I would point out to you is some controls upgrades that we need to do. Just some of our controllers on not this site, but mainly over at Union are obsolete. And there's controllers for in every single classroom that will tell a water valve to open or a damper to open or close. And those controllers, a lot of them are obsolete. You can't get parts. You need to replace them.
Tim, are there still issues over at the main campus with, there used to be certain areas that would cool better than other areas? And
Well, it's not, yeah, it's still an issue, but it's more of, it's really not related to this.
Okay.
It's just,
Just the system.
well, yeah, I guess. So, let me go back, I'm gonna do some of those items up. So we need to do some track work. We just got a new track in Union, right? We got a whole new subgrade and a whole new asphalt base and track. And then the one at Vista, we did top layer over the top of that. But I think it's wise to maintain it so that we don't get to the spot where we're replacing, right? So I got some pictures of the track. The one at Vista is the one that really needs some maintenance on it, and that stuff is pretty expensive. The Union one is in pretty good shape. Storm drains, if you guys are familiar with dry wells, we have tons of dry wells all over these campuses, and they haven't been cleaned out since I've been here, and I don't think they've been cleaned out ever. And they clean those out, they bring a big shop vac, a hydrovac truck out.
I mean, this
And it's
sucking truck.
it's stuck out, right? It's still in the trash. So I got a couple pictures of a pretty comprehensive report that we did. And then there's just some erosion cleanup that we need to do that I would kind of lump into that damage category. Our cooling towers at Vista are in really rough shape. I have some good pictures to show you of that. I think the SFD will pay for it, but it's becoming difficult to work with them in certain situations like this one where they're not failed, the towers are still functioning, but you'll see the pictures and say, wow. They're
How old are these now?
It's 11 years.
12 years.
And so they just want us to wait till it fails and then we'll live without towers it would take us 3 months probably by the time we do all the procurement. That's at like pretty rapid speed. We're just gonna go without cooling for 3 months? That doesn't really work, right? So, but they are listening, they're talking to me, so.
What is lifespan on those?
So good question. Do you have a stainless steel basin? Is it PVC? Is it galvanized? Our current towers are galvanized and they're not quite at the end of life cycle, but a galvanized tower with Arizona hard water.
Yeah, that's the issue with water.
Yeah.
The hard water.
So, maybe on our next step, we want to get stainless. It's going to last probably twice as long as the galvanized.
Stainless is not cheap.
No. So you kind of got to figure that out, right? Some other things that we really need to be thinking about, there are bigger ticket items, the asphalt. I don't know if you guys have driven through Union, I got some pictures to show you that too. It just needs to be totally milled up an inch or two and we need to relay something. It's pretty bad. And then over at Vista, the roof needs to be maintained. It's not leaking, it's not in dire straits or anything, but it's just something that ought to be kept up. It's an expensive ticket item. Then I think we just need to be prepared. There's 3 chillers at Union. One of them has been replaced by the SFB, but we need to be ready in case one of those out of the 3, one of them's 2 years old, 3 years old. The other 2 could fail. And right now, like today, we actually had all 3 chillers running. It was hot. What over the period days. So here's just some pictures to kind of show you. This is just a picture of the controls end of it, like what we would see some upgrades to this software with that controls piece of it. Here's the Vista track. You can see that's just not ideal, right? There's some damage right there. It's just a track. So there's the track. Here's the storm dry wells. You can see the bad shape.
A lot of trash in it, huh?
That's just a storm drain that needs to be cleaned out. It's like half full with cylinder. Here's a report of all the storm drain type of damage that needs to be cleaned up. That was one of those items. This is the towers at Vista. There's 3. One of them, the tower on your left up here is there's kind of 2 in 1, and then there's a 3rd tower over there. You can see that they're in difficult shape. But they do still work. It's just something.
What kind of maintenance what kind of upkeep maintenance is?
Number 1 is water treatment. Just like you would never just let the water sit in your pool forever, right? So there's that piece. We have a company called Chemtex. They're really good. And I've had 3 different companies for doing water treatment.
And do you clean grids or stuff like that? Or,
You
with
get-
all the
yeah,
storms, et cetera, that we have in this.
On the towers?
Yeah.
You pull these those pads off.
Right.
They're in frames, and you pull those off, and then you gotta get in there and literally like with shop vacs, you gotta clean them out. We do that in house.
So is that an annual occurrence or
No, we try to do it twice a year.
last year?
Once at the beginning of the cooling season. There's the parking lot. It's one of this picture's probably 2 years old. So you can see how big that crack is. You could.
That's probably one of my bigger concerns right now is that parking lot. We've had a number of people fall because they stepped in a crater and tripped, in the parking lot. It's in really bad shape.
So there's a number of ways that we could do it with the asphalt, but to do it right, we'd mill it and put down. And then we just need to take care of our other asphalt too. I think we're gonna bite that chunk out. I think we should take care of this parking lots that are kind of
Then I apologize. That's the Vista or the CG?
this is a picture of Union. This is on here.
Yeah, it's the worst.
This that needs to, I did, right when the pandemic, I actually bought a machine We haven't been able to use it yet, but, it's a crack filling machine, so we haven't broken it out and tried it, but at least we can try to Band-Aid some of this stuff, but it's really just a Band-Aid. That's just a picture of the Vista roof line. There's the one on the farthest left has actually been replaced. The other two are the ones that are, how old is Union? 20-something? So those chillers there, I've done a lot of work on them. It's like they've been overhauled. It's like Chuck's old truck.
We used to have a contract with Johnson Controls or something.
Oh, yeah.
That was maintaining stuff for.
They don't come around anymore.
God, it's been trying to remember them back in the day.
Yeah, we gave them a lot of money. So that's, any questions on that facility assessment? Hopefully that gives you a snapshot of that report and of what the campus's greatest needs are.
Thank you for breaking it down the way you did, so we don't.
Well, and this year, when I presented the budget to you, I did not make any recommendation because we don't know what our future is. But there's definitely some things that we're gonna probably tackle.
And what did you say that you thought that maybe it was chillers or that it might be SFB or what was the?
The towers.
The towers.
The towers,
yeah.
If the towers fail tomorrow, they would buy us brand new towers. But we're gonna be in a pickle.
But they won't do anything proactive. If you put it on the list of these things.
By the letter of their law, no, they don't do maintenance. In the past, they've done it, but I don't know how they justify it. Any other questions about that capital fund here? All right, so for sanitizing, one thing I didn't put on here that I think is a great idea, the plane hasn't completely landed yet, because we just had the idea yesterday, and we just ordered the rags today. Dr. Mead was about it, actually.
I don't know what I did.
We want to put rags in every classroom, and every night we could just cycle those rags immediately, put them in users to help